Hey, hello everybody, and happy day, morning, night, evening, wherever you may watch this. You know me, and for those that don't know, I'm just a simple man. My name is Noel Foster, and I'm happy to, of course, represent all things wrestling and my ATW crew. I just want to bring you into 2022 to our forum called the ATW VIEW. We went a little longer than expected, so this will be uploaded in parts over the next couple of days with a different type of feel each segment too. In this opening segment, we'll be talking a lot of stuff, mostly about WWE, NXT, and of course the lawsuit with MLW and some other fun topics too. So with that being said, enjoy the first part of the first multi-series ATW Vid 2022. Look forward to hearing your thoughts and comments. And as always, just enjoy life and enjoy professional wrestling. Take care. 2022 professional wrestling. What the hell is up with you? From day one, the Wrestle Kingdom to GCW to Impact Wrestling, going for the 22 to a new era in AEW. This
Mustafa Ali's trying to get out.
What?
Mustafa Ali requests his release.
Long overdue. And what a great way to go into this show, too. Welcome once again, everybody, to the ATW View. Happy 2022 to all of you. You know what this is about. It's the forum where we talk all things wrestling. And, of course, I'm here with the ATW crew. Gentlemen, 17 days into 2022, the professional wrestling industry has literally taken a tailspin, once again, in more ways than one, too. But how are all of you? And great opening, Eric. King, I'll start with you. How's the year been so far for you?
It's been a wild 2022 to say the least, as far as the wrestling world and the professional sports world. But let's keep, if y'all want to keep this chaos going, let's keep it going. I mean, we'll probably talk about the Cody news, but I'll get into that as soon as we go deeper into this.
That is a bit interesting, that whole Cody thing.
Yeah. And that's just one of the more recent things, along with Mustafa Ali. I mean, heck, it's been a newsworthy year since day one, to say the least. Unfortunately, not good news for everybody. And I'm sure we'll learn more about the better of all things news. Eric, good to see you again. I'm sure you got a ton to share, thoughts, and talk about in ways that you are going to usher in chaos and probably hurt James' brain. But before all that, how are you, sir?
Good.
All right.
MLW suing WWE finally.
There you go.
I got a lot to say about that. Don't worry.
Well, again, from the guy that shares all the news to he's different, but he is not afraid to express himself on video or off screen too. James, it's good to see you once again, sir. How are you?
Man, it's crazy. Right now I'm great. This is my second show of 3 today.
Well, there you go.
Hey.
So,
well, I mean, he's got a point because King,
crazy,
Eric, if scheduling works out, me and James will be making our official Jeff Meacham Network debut on a brand new platform called Open Mic Night. Who knows what Jeff is going to do with that? So,
which I will check that after we do this. I will check that out.
I appreciate it.
It's going to be I will just say, you're going to have to, it's 11:45.
Yeah, so have your drinks on standby because it's going to be unrestricted.
Get that coffee and get that caffeine in your system.
Well, all I know is I'm still going to remain straight edge, but I feel like dealing with you, James, and Jeff at the same time, you might push me to drink before I turn 30 next month.
Yeah, probably, honestly.
Well, that being said, All right, enough dilly-dallying, enough random banter. We already have a few stories to talk about. Let's just go ahead and get right into it. Let's start simple.
Before we get to that, shout out to Casey because obviously we wish him well.
Yeah, because again, he's gone through a lot. God bless, I say, the preacher man, good-hearted soul, the ultimate Dakota Kai fan. And man, Mr. Charm, Mr. Humor, we love you, brother. We hope to see you back on this platform very soon. Maybe when we talk Revolution, which will most likely be our next big ATW view, unless scheduling works out better this year. We'll have to wait and see. And also shout out to the entire ATW crew, from the Mean King to the Partier to the wrestlers, and of course Kid Bandit, and of course future NXT UK superstar Megan Shiva, the Queen, Indy Darling, Cindy G. The list goes on and on. Again, you can follow the entire ATW crew in the link down below in the description too. We'll have all the Twitter handles, and there'll also be Eric's link tree as well. So with that being said,
and by the way, let me tell you something.
Oh.
Eric, let me tell you something. As Casey would say, Casey will pull through. Okay.
all I gotta say that is, all right.
All right.
All right. Let me tell you something.
Let me tell you something. All right. The Cook Kai will beat Mandy Rose for the NXT UK Women's Championship. And when she does, she's going to go on to the Royal Rumble and win it and put that title on the line in the main event. That was for you, brother.
Scarily accurate. That is scarily accurate.
That was scary, bro. Okay.
I don't do voice acting. I know James wants me to voice act, but I don't have time to do it. I'm just happy to bring the entertainment.
No, you got some different voices you can do. I've heard them.
Anyway. I mean, what are you talking about? I'm just a simple man after all. That being said, let's go ahead and talk all things wrestling. Day one, Brock Lesnar, out of nowhere. Big E was unaware of it. Big E got Kofi'd in more than 8 seconds. And now we have no effing idea which way they're going to take Brock and Roman. Various stories, various ideas been posed. So I'm going to pose this to you guys, fantasy booking. How should the saga of the Tribal Chief and the Beast come to an end? James, I will start with you on this. Your thoughts.
I can tell you how it's going to end, and it's really going to be sad because it's going to be the end of an era for one title.
You are not saying you are not thinking of unification.
Universal's replacing the world title, and when they unify it, yes, that's how this is ending. It is so clear that this is the direction that they're going. Now, I have to say that Lesnar, I don't know what the fuck he's taken, but like Lesnar has been the most entertaining I've ever seen him. Just in short clips
in this run.
Yeah, I know what he's been taking.
What has he been taking?
Besides money.
He's been in quarantine for the past 2 years and finally snapped.
Oh yeah, like he just went cabin fever crazy because he lives out in the woods in a cabin with Sable. And apparently it's like I had to get out from the snow and all that type of stuff. I'm still not a people person, but I can actually be a very entertaining person. And you know what? Shoot, I'll admit it. Brock Lesnar is freaking entertaining. I cannot believe what we're seeing from this guy.
Entertaining. Brock has been entertaining with the boombox bullshit. Like that was hilarious. He's jamming to his music like the buddy of the big.
Yeah, too bad that only happened because of deceptions towards Mustafa Ali.
Yeah. That's absolutely true.
Well, let's go ahead and see if we can change tangents. Because King, as New Japan Pro Wrestling fans, we've already seen a unification storyline done in its own way through another two-stage showcase, of course being the main 2 nights of Wrestle Kingdom 16. And this unification saga went on for about 8 months. WWE's trying to do it now in the span of 4 months. So give me your thoughts towards, do you think the unification way is the way to go with the fact they're being a stupendous 2-night WrestleMania? Or do you think they should do something different? And if you have anything to say about the fact we finally have a true IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, feel free to segue into that too. Your thoughts?
Let's see here. I think our like creative minds, that's how they should go, as having a unification match. But if we know how WWE is going to operate, that's not going to happen, because basically we got Brock versus Bobby, and if we talk about 7:06 Central Standard Time, 8:06 Eastern Standard Time, Raw is doing Seth Rollins versus Bobby Lashley on Raw, which I don't know how you would make both of them lose, because they both got upcoming Royal Rumble matches to look forward to, respective championship matches at that. But WWE's mind, they're going to do a unification match. I really do think either Brock or Roman's going to have to drop one of their titles, but they're going to still challenge for a championship regardless, because they are doing a match at WrestleMania. It's been talked about, it's been speculated about, and it's probably, as far as I know, probably written down in pencil before it's in permanent ink, basically.
Yeah, I mean, basically, they got no other two people to main event WrestleMania with at this point, title or non-title. If Roman and or Brock are not somehow colliding in a one-on-one match, you basically got no WrestleMania at this point, unless, Eric, you're Mr. Reality. You know how to twist and turn things crazier than Doctor Strange in this weird wrestling universe that you pretty much compare to the Marvel universe. So this is on you, man. Structure the WWE. What should they do with Brock and Roman and now Seth and Bobby too?
I don't know what they could do to make this work, but I have a feeling where they're going to go with, and it's not James's prediction.
Do tell.
Okay.
Rumor has it that WWE's thinking this. Okay, so we have Roman being the longest reigning Universal Champion. Brock Lesnar's our current WWE Champion. Okay, I got an idea. Let's just switch the titles on different brands. Brock takes the WWE title to SmackDown, and Seth takes the title off Roman to Raw, because we're idiots like that.
Okay.
Yep, that's why I see where we're going. Yeah.
A counterpoint.
Really?
But before you go, Miss James, why didn't they do this with Charlotte and Becky to the point that actually would have been more of a respectful way to change the titles across those two brands?
Okay, I can explain that. I can honestly explain that. It's because they're not Roman.
Yeah.
There you go.
True.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough.
Here's the thing, though. They actually have a decent, or they're doing the matches between Rollins and Roman at the Royal Rumble. They're also doing Bobby and Lesnar at the Royal Rumble, correct?
Yeah.
Why aren't these the main events? If we're
I have a better question.
Different opponents.
I have a better question. Why is it that WWE starts giving people what they want for the last several years if Roman gets seriously sick?
It's like the last resort.
We only gained these matches because Roman got COVID.
Exactly. These are the matches that fans have been clamoring for years.
Amen. Yeah.
And it's like, oh, top guy's sick. Okay, we're now going to actually get the fans what they want, just so they actually have a reason to still feel like we care about you, and you're still in charge, and you're the authority. This is what you want.
I can't wait to eviscerate that. You want to go on to the fucking MLW thing that Eric brought up earlier?
Well, before we do, I'll just say this: Brock versus Roman is an obvious thing. I feel like no matter how we try and restructure this, that's gotta be happening at WrestleMania. Unless both get COVID and WrestleMania is fucked.
Dude, how are you gonna give the Royal Rumble main events? Like the Royal Rumble main events are far more intriguing. That should have been the WrestleMania main events.
To be honest, this might be one of the better Royal Rumble pay-per-views to look forward to in a long damn time, and they actually might be more important than the Royal Rumble matches themselves.
And I was about to say that because the Royal Rumble field for both men and women is just absolutely awful.
Well, first off, no surprises. They've named everything. And secondly, I can't pick up a clear, worthwhile winner for either Rumble match. Eric.
In order to segue to what James wants to talk about, let me just bring this up. The only reason I have belief they're doing the Mickey James Forbidden Door stuff to get in on.
Yeah, okay.
Let me just say this.
Yep.
You want to know what I heard? Why WWE might be doing this?
Yeah, go ahead.
You tell.
I've heard a few things, but go for it.
Apparently, WWE, even after they got rid of Triple H, was like, well, we don't want to feature too many NXT superstars, so you're still second-class citizens to us.
So we need more bodies, but we can't do NXT. Not even my NXT, where I got people like Tiffany Stratton, Ivy Nile. Ivy Nile's got potential, I will say that, and Wendy in a onesie. But no. I can't use my NXT because I don't want NXT involved in here.
So no Io Shirai, no Raquel Gonzalez, no Dakota Kai, like
probably not.
Three of your best women on the show.
And Dakota Kai has been involved in dark matches before Raw and SmackDown. Same for the men. We've had Tommaso Ciampa and Pete Dunne involved on dark matches for SmackDown, and it's like, whatever.
Oh, that's the problem, not the fact that Pete Dunne was in a fucking crowbar on a pole match.
Bro, let me tell you something, bro. If you want to put forward a match, bro, you gotta put an object on a pull, bro. Because an object on a pull is a selling point for a match, bro. And people will buy into that shit, bro. I know this because I did it back in WCW, bro. And Vince Russo booking all over again.
It
Would
really
this be
is.
a bad time to mention that the person in charge of WCW of NXT's current writing is a guy named Russo?
I know, and that's why I'm like, he must have booked this, right? Because we know Bruce Pritchard now is leading this NXT.
I love you.
Also, I got asked.
I
why
fucking
are they
hate you. Get off my fucking wrestling shows, you prick.
Okay, I got a question. Why is Vince adding more responsibility on Bruce Pritchard if he's dealing with health issues?
Because he wants to make sure he has
Vince
a fall
is a
guy.
heartless bastard.
Well, that too, but also Vince wants to make sure he has a fall guy to blame when NXT 2.0 inevitably fails.
Again,
Exactly,
Vince
because
is a heartless bastard.
And he's erasing Triple H's legacy. Speaking of Triple H's legacy,
who also had a cardiac event, by the way.
Yeah, let's talk about that, shall we?
R.I.P. to my NXT, but King, you may speak.
Really? Regal. The guy who was basically underrated for the past 20 years, a great technician in the ring, and also could have been a future World Heavyweight Championship if he wouldn't have gotten into wellness violation.
And a man's man.
Yes.
And a very good trainer and a very good GM down there in NXT. But yet you want to release the guy because he's just Triple H guy? Really now? And I've had people saying, "Oh, well, Shawn Michaels runs NXT." No, he doesn't.
Shit.
No, he doesn't.
I am waiting for the day Shawn and Hunter leave because they're fed up with this horse shit, and Stephanie being like, "I don't fucking blame him." I'm waiting for the day to happen.
I swear, James sounds like JDMY from New York when he rants like that. Anyway, continue, King.
Because that's because of the fact that, and plus, surprised about Joe. Are we surprised about Joe about this rate anymore?
No, Joe, I'm not surprised by. Road Dogg and fucking Regal though, I'm shocked by.
That took me away.
Actually, here's the thing. I'm not shocked Regal was fired. I was a little surprised Road Dogg was fired of his nonsense conspiracy insanity.
Oh, you didn't know. Oh, you didn't know.
No, I agree. Not to mention, he's written for Vince before. So
he's been a writer. He's been a producer.
He destroyed Ryan Ward's SmackDown in a matter of months.
And that was one of the best SmackDowns coming up. Go ahead, King.
It's everyone thinking that Ryan Ward SmackDown. Oh, they got shafted because of the draft. Raw got the better picks. In 2016.
And they absolutely did. But man, did they make the most of what they had?
They made the most of that roster versus Raw.
Style.
They got James fucking Ellsworth over.
Styles, Ambrose, Cena, Orton, Corbin, Bliss. Who else?
That was
Becky
the best.
Lynch.
Dolph Ziggler, Naomi,
Bray Wyatt.
Bray Wyatt.
The Miz.
Yeah, I gotta admit, The Miz. It'll come out championship run.
Yep, at No Mercy. At No Mercy between
That
Miz
match.
and Ziggler. Always.
That
Oh
freaking
my
match.
God.
I mean, Dolph Ziggler is a workhorse, but that
was
match
some
right
of the
there is
best.
a stand on his career.
Honest to God, even Raw, even with its faults, and they had plenty of faults even back then. But Raw was even pretty good too back then. Like that was some of the best television WWE produced in years.
But you want James? I got something that might make you infuriated about that No Mercy event.
Uh-oh.
Oh God.
Here we go.
Okay, So remember how everyone was still to this day confused? Wait, why is Dolph Ziggler and Miz on the middle of the card and not the main event at the world titles, not the main event, since they're trying to combat with the presidential debate?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, there was a report came out about that.
Okay.
Okay. They said there was reported that Vince McMahon made the call to make it the middle of the match because, they all know Dolph Ziggler's going to win, so it wouldn't be a good, neat reason to give it the main event, even though we've done predictability in the past. Plus, we feel Wyatt and Orton are bigger stars in the IC title.
And Dolph Ziggler doesn't deserve that moment.
But the IC title is the workhorse title, and it deserves to have its spotlight, but yet you don't want to put it as the main event. Okay.
I mean, let's go further back from that. It never was meant to be just a workhorse title. Like,
True.
It was a world championship at one point. Like,
it was.
That's another fucking problem. Like, the whole workhorse idea is a crock of shit. It's always was supposed to be a world title. There's a reason it's called the Intercontinental title. It's just another term for international, which, by the way, is another term for world.
World.
Well, Nakamura has it, but he's only had one defense with it. So what does that tell you?
And he's injured.
With a hand injury.
Yep, the last pay-per-view defense was WrestleMania. Exactly. But nobody knew Shinsuke was injured. Nobody knew until the report came out.
No.
Yep.
All right.
Yep, just like the guys at King of the Hill. Okay, so first off, going back to King's Plan, again, this is what happens. We freaking segue off the rails to something else. That's all good. King, Braun Breaker. He finally beat Tommaso Ciampa at New Year's Eve and literally kicked the black and gold down.
Which management was upset about, by the way.
Gee, I wonder why. And then Ciampa, being the guy that he is, passed it off, respect, and even showed a bit of respect to his father, who was there, Rick Steiner. And literally, it's like, okay, Braun Breaker.
Off air.
Yes, you're now the guy. You are the leader of the next generation. This is your NXT. I fear to God what happens to that title when it comes to its design and look. But
it's coming. It's coming.
Let's talk about potential here, because that's what NXT 2.0 is trying to bring. Now, we hate the product. It looks like Nickelodeon, and it hurts my eyes. And it is literally a mini Raw with distraction finishes. But to be devil's advocate, there is actually a few people on there I believe do have potential to be big. Braun Breaker, I feel, is one of them. So I want to try and see if you guys, who I know I've kept up with it as well, scope the landscape. Is there anybody on NXT 2.0 you could see being a key player in the future of the WWE? Man or woman?
Honestly, I don't watch NXT 2.0, so I haven't really kept track.
I'll tell you the two that anybody will ever give a shit about. Braun Breaker and whoever the fuck fought AJ Styles.
Grayson Waller?
Yeah.
I replace you with Tony D'Angelo.
Yeah. Actually, you're right. You're right. No, D'Angelo's actually pretty damn good on the mic, and he's really he's actually very underrated in the ring.
All right.
Grayson Waller to me is basically what MJF is currently and what he's been doing since he first broke into the wrestling business.
You compare Grayson Waller to MJF, huh? That's saying something.
In WWE's mindset, that's how they look at it. Is basically their version of MJF.
I'm just gonna put it this way: like we can we can say all we want about breakout stars, and I think we've named about a couple probably.
Ivy Nile.
And the problem is you don't expect them to fucking go anywhere because the minute they show up on Raw or SmackDown, they're fucked. Look at what happens to Ciampa right now.
Or
Ciampa dyed his beard. I never thought I'd see the day.
How about that? We'd be reminiscent if we didn't talk about this. Tommaso Ciampa debuting on main event. That's how you
fighting T-Bar. He fought T-Bar.
T-Bar.
The guy who should be main eventing with Dominic Dijakovic.
Dijakovic, yep.
And all I gotta say is this: to those with aspirations of making it in the place you fought was the place you've always wanted to be in. I will not judge you. I will simply say good luck to you because I feel a few of you definitely have the potential to be key players. It comes down to if you can be a Vince or Pritchard guy. Good luck, man or woman, to you. And that includes Braun Breaker, Tony D'Angelo, Grayson Waller, Ivy Nile, and I'll even give some credit where credit's due to Toxic Attraction, especially Gigi Dorman, who has extremely impressed me since showing up. And Cora Jade, too, for that matter.
I wish that Toxic Attraction showed up in old NXT, and I'm talking like the peak of old NXT, where their women's division was fucking stacked. Like, then they would have stood out more because they didn't have those type of gimmicks at all. Like, Triple H did everything that he could to steer away from that. So if that kind of character showed up, they would have fucking made a massive impact.
Exactly.
The old NXT was the best NXT women's division that they've ever had in North America. Straight up.
And the problem is they were trying to do a tag division there, and they fucking waited 2 years.
They should have done an IC title like division for them.
Dude, that's how stacked this division.
Yeah, look how stacked
and the sad part is, and here's the sad part, because they failed to do what they should have done. Everybody here that is now going to go to Impact or AEW now because they have tag team titles, a women's title there in Impact, or they have a singles title for their company.
Yep.
You have 4 potential titles for women in those companies alone. You might as well add a 5th one because let's change gears to another positive thing. Impact Wrestling ushering in the 20th year. I say it's been one hell of an incredible start as they're now being invaded by Ring of Honor Renegades, but also they now own the Women of Honor Championship. Deonna Purrazzo is once again a double champion after falling short of Ricky James in an incredible main event on Hard to Kill, rightfully deserved. So that being said, let's talk about Impact 2022 so far. What's been everyone's thoughts on it? What do you hope to come? They're doing a hell of a job.
I said this before, and I'll say it again. Whereas AEW restarted the Forbidden Door stuff, like bringing back the old territory idea, Impact kind of got the most benefit out of it, being the epicenter of it all.
They're the Mecca. They're the center point of this wrestling universe.
I will say because I think it's really just a thing where Mickey has to be there, and this is probably the only way they could do it. Where if she shows up at the Royal Rumble, has to come out to Hardcore Country, has to be acknowledged as TNA Knockouts World Champion. But the fact that Impact was able to have that much fucking leverage to pull that off is astounding to me. TNA didn't even have that much leverage back in 2010.
They did not.
The fact
and they had Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff.
Dude, the fact that they're doing that now, and it's crazy to me because it's like they have Ring of Honor showing up. They have they have Mercedes Martinez, who's now under AEW contract. And you also have the fact that they're getting WWE involved in this now because one of their girls is going into the Royal Rumble.
Yes.
Like, Impact has benefited more than anybody out of this Forbidden Door.
You're forgetting the fact that this week's is the start of their new tapings, with Jay White's returning back to Impact.
Right, in New Japan. New Japan too. Yeah,
and also God is coming.
Who is definitely the next contenders for
look, we're getting God versus Good Brothers. It was inevitable after they went face-to-face at Resurgence. They did not win the World Tag League. They were not even involved in Wrestle Kingdom. It is the inevitable. It has to happen.
And here's the insane thing. After the events that went down with Tony Khan, which we will not get into, we're done with that. We've moved on that. Yeah. After that, you would think, man, the momentum's on WWE's side a little bit. Here's MLW to trash it.
Yeah, let's go ahead and go into that now. Eric, why don't you go ahead and lead this conversation, because MLW is trying to do something against WWE that others have tried for years.
So MLW, after what happened last year when they were so close to getting a Fox deal on one of their streaming platforms, and were screwed out of it because Vince threw a hissy fit, announced we're suing the WWE. And okay, there's something I gotta mention about that. So after it was announced that they're suing WWE, and they have a legal team that that people said is an actual serious thing, because if they got this legal team, that means they might have a strong case against WWE.
Yes.
Well, the COO was like, okay, we're going to sue WWE. We got the perfect legal representation. Now let's see, what's my mandatory requirements? Okay, I need to pull a Bryan Danielson fetish moment. And you want to know what he did?
Oh, Lord.
What did he do?
He says, I have pig-sized testicles.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
No, you're not wrong. I will not.
Here's the thing, though. The evidence against the WWE in this fucking case is damning, because there's legitimate issue here. Like, they did cost him a streaming deal with FS1. They did use the fucking leverage they have on their fucking network, because Fox would have lost their streaming deal and lost out on a bunch of money, I guess.
Exactly.
So, that's the reason. That's the fucking reason.
Bigger wallet. Bigger freaking wallet.
Exactly.
It has been the most gross. It might, honestly, I am shocked that didn't earn most disgusting promotional tactic even over Saudi. Honestly. Because Saudi, they're never going to budge from that no matter what the fuck anybody says.
I will always announce it as country redacted. But continue.
Right. But, fucking, how did that not earn it? Because, like, it's so ridiculous to me that you have all this stuff going on, and then you can't even, you failed to do something that Fox has been asking you to do for months, which is produce good television. And so you fail to do that, and a wrestling company shows up and says, hey, we're not trying to intrude on SmackDown. We'll just be on FS1. If you'll have us, we'll be more than happy to, produce TV for you. And WWE does this fucking horseshit, like, even for them, and that really shows how ruthless they are. Which is why I'm saying, like, let's entertain the idea that this Mickie James thing is somehow something more in the fucking future. I was originally ecstatic for it, and I have long since changed my tune, especially after this MLW announcement and the NXT releases. I'm going to tell you exactly why they're fucking doing this, because this is how Vince operates. He is ruthless in the beginning, and then when he thinks he's got you right where he wants you, he'll swoop in right under your nose, and then he'll fucking take your talent, raid your talent, and then he's going to fucking profit off that, put your company out of business, and then buy you out. We've seen this happen with all of the territories. We see this happen with ECW. We've seen this recently happen with Evolve. So there's a fucking history of this happening. So, yeah, color me a little bit pessimistic about the possibility that WWE could join the Forbidden Door. I kind of don't want that. I really don't. Because that means that the show that I've invested my time into could potentially be fucked by the company with the most money, because they don't want any competition that isn't their own.
Well, the funny thing about that, James, is also this is the company that is supposed to offer the biggest promise, and they're already looking at other talent outside that they want. Names include, but not limited to, Wardlow, and in particular, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. But she brought out a very nice statement that I think sums this up perfectly. And you can kind of add this along to what happened with Toni Storm and how she felt. She said, and I quote, according to ProWrestling.com, they definitely expressed interest. Unfortunately, I've got to pick and choose how I say this. Now, again, this is a wrestler in the professional wrestling industry proceeding with caution based on how this could affect her purpose and her look in the future, according to the wrestling industry's higher-ups. I've got to pick and choose how I say this, but I just feel like you can't trust anything with that company, insert name here. Whereas at AEW, for example, and again, this is just her, she works for AEW. This is not just saying that AEW is the only illustration of this, because I'm sure we all can name a company or a wrestler that demonstrates this point too. Let me finish. I've never been promised anything that didn't follow through. So it's something that, unfortunately, it's sad that it comes down to that. that it makes a company not really desirable because you can't trust anything they say. And I know business is business, and I understand totally that's what it is. But as a wrestler, again, she's a wrestler. We're just fans of wrestlers. Business is business after all. So bottom line, yeah, WWE maybe can give you the most promise, but do they follow through? I think that sums it up right there, courtesy of one Dr. Britt Baker from AEW.
There have been so many bridges burnt from other people that have left the WWE that have said worse than what Britt Baker said. But what Britt Baker said sums up what everybody else has shot on the WWE for.
Simple as that.
I got also two things to add to this.
Please do.
At first, I was excited, but then I was like, wait, Mickey, aren't these the same people that have a built-in culture of sending trash bags to women, and you got that spoken about?
And Gail Kim and Rhea Canellas have also spoken about it publicly.
And just anybody got left there. It wasn't even just relegated to women. Carlito, I think,
and Gail Kim came out and said, oh, I was told this was a common thing even before I first joined. So this is a built-in culture system they've made. But there is another thing I wanted to tell James and all of you guys. Another story came out right after MLW's lawsuit that was announced. Remember the G1 Supercard and how that almost didn't happen?
They wanted to fucking. I'm well aware of this story.
Here's a twist. Do you know who made the call?
Yeah, Paul Levesque. I know.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. Paul Levesque was forced to make that call, and you can't tell me otherwise. Period. This is not. Let's be honest. If Triple H were to fucking run WWE the way he wanted to run WWE, I trust him. I trust him 100% because he'd run WWE like NXT was run. Which means if AEW became a thing and Triple H was running the WWE right now, we wouldn't be having this discussion of worrying about the WWE joining the Forbidden Door. Period. There's no question.
It would have been openly welcome.
Yeah, come on in, buddy.
It would have been welcome with open arms across both companies.
Kenny Omega
you would have had NXT TakeOver in Madison Square Garden with collaboration with AEW, and Triple H was basically running the show. And Cody said that Triple H is his favorite for reasons.
Yeah. Also, James, you were talking about how you got weary about what WWE's going to do to Impact if they got their way. Well, you did mention another particular person. Booker T has something to say about this collaboration.
Uh-oh.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
So, James, have you heard of Booker T?
Well, now, I want to preface this because I feel like I have to preface this because people...
Preference.
And I've actually tweeted about this. I've tweeted about this. I feel Booker gets a bad rep here. He doesn't always comment negative shit. He has negative takes, but they're genuinely positive. I've actually gone on his channel, and Booker fucking was nice enough to reply to me, and I was like, check out any other content. We have talked very positively about AEW in the past. I confirm this is the case.
Yeah, so, well, he has.
I want to preface that right now because nobody else in this fucking community will. Continue.
Fair enough.
Understand. Well, Booker T came out and said on his podcast, and I must stress he works for WWE as a panelist. He said this: fair. What if these guys come in and really, really do well and want to actually move over to the other side? And then he said this about Impact.
Uh-huh.
Impact Wrestling is almost like a developmental territory. It's a good place to be seen, but if you want to make some really good money, you're going to have to go somewhere else. That's no slight to Impact or anything like that. And I was like, no, that definitely sounds like a slight.
Actually, no. No, you know what? I actually agree with Booker here.
We all know that Impact Wrestling does not have as near as much money as AEW and WWE, but that's not on them. That's just always been their business structure. I've talked about multiple times with people that talk nothing but Impact Wrestling, and they say one of the biggest cruxes to that is their marketing. There is not as wide as a reach out or connection versus the other companies. And even with their YouTube service and insiders and stuff like that, they're trying. I will say they're trying.
Eric Bischoff did say something that was unfortunately accurate, because it does ring true. Like, Impact is great, but how many people are actually going to see it because it's on Access TV, which barely anybody have?
And YouTube. I think people don't know enough about the YouTube thing, because you can watch Impact Wrestling 90 minutes, commercial free, starting at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as a simple Impact Insider, $5 a month.
That's another thing too, and keep this in mind too. Like, I've been saying this for months now. Like, and I've been saying this since they started their collaboration with Impact. AEW did. And I said they would have been better off probably actually selling the assets of Impact to AEW, because I'm confident Tony Khan would have kept the brand and used it under the AEW initials, and B, there would have been a lot more stars that he could have put on that brand that would have actually bolstered up that fucking roster in particular, which already was great by that point.
Yeah.
So, like, that's another thing. It's like, if they'd be better off being on TBS right now than where they're at right now. So no, I don't disagree with Booker's take there. Actually, I
feel like he was just literally speaking to the market, because let's face it, King, Impact Wrestling. People want to try and rank companies, but Impact Wrestling, it has stood the testament of time again. 20 years now. God bless that company. In a much better state when it comes to roster, quality, outlook, and, of course, dedicated fan base and growing fan base. And with the collaborations with all these other companies, like James and Eric alluded to, not limited to AAA, CMLL, NWA, NJPW, AEW, now ROH. I mean, Impact Wrestling, again, they continue to make strides and continue to still be,
in a sense, yeah.
That GCW continue to still be on the precipice, at the beacon, it seems, at the center of the wrestling community, in my opinion, because everybody goes in and out or through Impact in some way, it seems now, more than ever.
Exactly.
King, what do you think of Booker's comments? What
let's get some thoughts from you, man. You've just been listening to us. Come on now, speak.
I agree with James. I don't disagree on what Booker said. He's talking about the market. It's not really like a widespread, community like that. Like, their business structures has always been the same. I mean, ever since they left Spike TV years ago, they haven't reached out to a bigger network since Spike TV. So I understand from where Booker is coming from in this case. Like, he's talking about the market itself.
It would be one thing if Booker said it was a developmental brand for the WWE. Then I could say
that would have been the kicker.
But therein lies the difference. He didn't just say the WWE, Eric. He said just it's a developmental brand for.
And keep in mind, Impact Wrestling,
essentially.
Impact Wrestling has.
Which he's not wrong. He's not wrong.
Booker T's wrestling promotion that he runs, Reality of Wrestling, has worked with Impact Wrestling.
Yes,
AEW too. AEW and WWE.
AEW.
Like, it just works with anybody. So
it really does. Again, Impact Wrestling, it's the company that's like, okay, you want to collab with us? We're all about spreading not only our brand, but the wrestling industry itself. Again, Impact Wrestling has always been truly that alternative before AEW existed.
Yeah.
Now, I'm more curious about what Booker said, even though we said we weren't gonna talk about this. I'm curious what he thought about the whole AEW has a diversity issue fucking bullshit.
Boy.
I'm curious on that.
I don't think he really said anything about it. I think he just stood clear to that.
I don't blame him. That is a super sensitive subject for. Just saying.
You want to know everybody's thoughts on it? Go to my video. Done.
Go to James's video if you want the thoughts on that very.
And please be polite in the comments. Please be polite.
I was.
Also, there's something there was an update on MLW's lawsuit with WWE besides the COO being a Bryan Danielson guy for fetishizing his thing.
Yeah, it's Court Bauer. Court Bauer don't give a shit, bro.
Well,
zero freaking F's.
He never did.
Well, there is a little bit of an issue going on with the COO and another wrestler.
Go ahead.
Joey Janelle came out and publicly backed WWE, saying, "I hope the Titan puts them out."
Oh,
what?
Yep, he's a bad boy.
Did Joey Janela had a bad run in MLW or a bad run with somebody there?
Well, he claimed that MLW prevented wrestlers from appearing with GCW.
That explains why.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if that's accurate or not, but the COO of MLW...
Honestly, that's fair.
That's his interpretation. Again, he works in the industry. He is die-hard GCW. So if that is the case, then that's his stand. I will leave that between him and those companies.
Yeah. But then the COO came out and called him a hypocrite.
No, I will say he's kind of right, but he's also I understand where Joey's coming from more here because you shouldn't be doing that. Like,
I mean, you're literally shafting.
It's a Lucha Underground problem all over again.
Yeah, exactly. And Lucha Underground had so much potential, but again, they were literally underground. Nobody else knew what the hell was about them.
If they'd have let people go outside of their borders and not lock them down under contracts. First off, Ricochet would have never left to go to the WWE, and he'd probably stay with them, and he probably wouldn't have any incentive to go.
Prince Puma.
He would have never wanted to go anywhere but stay in Lucha Underground and do his indie dates. Guaranteed.
Think about how many people went through Lucha Underground and made a name for themselves. I might not know the original names, but you know damn well who they were. From Jeff Cobb to Brian Cage to Chelsea Green. Shall I continue?
Yeah, I mean,
I
think we now know also why Jacob Fatu hasn't been seen in months up until maybe recently. I haven't kept up with MLW in a bit, but there was a period of time where Jacob was just not on TV. I wonder why. Maybe he was trying to negotiate a deal where he could actually take outside dates. Like, there's probably some validity to Joey's gripe there. And by the way, this is coming from a guy who's not necessarily the biggest fan of the guy. So
publicly say he hopes people die of their throat illness.
I mean, yeah, but I sometimes don't know if it's his gimmick or real life bullshit.
Yeah, that's the thing. I was like, is he joking or is he being serious?
I mean, how many times has Joey Janela been dropped on his head, to be fair? He's probably scrambled a few brain cells.
It's probably way too many times.
I feel like he's the Antonio Brown type where because it's like, I remember there was this one, and I mentioned this because there was this one time Joey Janela, I think he got like a severe concussion.
Yes.
And it's been like downhill ever since. Like, he lost Penelope. It really feels like a Antonio Brown situation with Joey Janela.
Well, at least he seems to be doing okay now when it comes to AEW and being tabbed with Taylor Rossi, who is legitimate.
Dude, please get Kayla Rossi on AEW Dynamite. I want her and Jade.
Oh,
That's money.
Yep.
And that's me saying Jade is green as fucking goose shit, and we all agree there.
We all agree.
I would want to see that. I would want to see how that would work out.
That would lead to the segue I want to talk about. Since we're talking about AEW, is the Cody news that broke out this morning.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that for a quick second. So this man has been working without an AEW contract since the end of 2021, and then AEW, good old Jeff Jones himself, wanted to post it right as soon as the news broke out, talking about AEW TNT champion Cody Rhodes returns Wednesday night. So basically, we're gonna think of the possibilities with this, guys. Cody without an AEW contract, but he's still the current AEW TNT champion, which could mean we could see a forbidden door once again come through the halls of AEW, or him taking that TNT title to other companies.
Exactly.
Let's face it, he's not going anywhere. He's going to resign. I mean, this is one of the foundation, one of the pillars, the originals. One of the guys who started AEW. Do y'all see him going anywhere? I don't think so.
No, and here's another thing, by the way, just to put it in perspective. There was 2 different contracts Cody signed. There was one where he was an athlete contract.
There you go.
And then the one with the vice president. He's still under contract with AEW as vice president.
That's what I've been saying on the timeline on Twitter. Like, I'm pretty sure he has a separate contract for his EVP status.
I think people don't realize that literally some people have two contracts and you're in a position of authority and a position as an on-screen talent.
Everybody that was an EVP, to Brandy, to the Young Bucks, to Kenny, all signed separate contracts to be management as well as wrestler independent deal contract signings to work dates for AEW. So
yeah, and I would like to mention,
keep that in mind as well.
Yeah,
and then you got those with clauses that are coaches like Dustin and Serena Deeb.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. And I like to mention, Deonna Purrazzo was the Knockouts champion for a time when she wasn't signed.
Exactly.
And
she has been part of Impact Wrestling now for 2 years and is the 2-time Knockout of the Year and now is a double champ once again, bearing the Women of Honor World Championship. What a match against Roxy, man. She went down.
Yeah, that was an awesome match. Match.
Sign Roxy to Impact Wrestling.
And Dave Meltzer came out with an update since he is AEW's PR spokesperson for the most part at this point.
Yeah.
He said this, okay, this is the situation. Almost everyone is avoiding me today there, so it's either true and they're all mad it's out, or it's a work and they don't want to lie to me. One person near the top thought it was a publicity stunt, but stressed that he didn't know for sure. But one would think if it was a big story internally, they would know. But that's the only person who would even talk to me today. Remember, as far as technical goes, if there was a new contract offered starting this year, Cody has not been there, is expected to ratify it on 1/5. He was to be there, came to Newark, got the call, flew home before going to the building, and has been back. I know health reasons when his family was legit, so Sap's story is correct. I'm guessing it is, but that's the situation. If he's not there on Wednesday, it's a story. If anything changes, I'll update.
That's what I'm saying. Cody Rhodes is be there Wednesday.
And remember,
Wednesday, see what he does.
He is the true TNT champion. Sammy is the interim TNT champion. So this really could be a story.
Unification match at some point. It's either going to be at Beach Break or it's going to be on Revolution. So
no, I think I know I'm saying it's way too early, but where was the first Dynamite held?
Washington, D.C.
Where are they going to be at this week?
Washington, D.C.
That's true.
And plus, Rampage is live this week.
Cody and Cody was advertised to be here this week.
Yeah,
exactly.
And my friend, and shout out to one of my fellow friends in the IWC. Her name's Melissa. I've seen her tweet.
Oh yeah, I know Melissa. She's very nice.
She's part of that Cody Rhodes texting group, and she got the text from Cody with that same advertisement that AEW posted, and Cody said, "Let's do big things on Wednesday."
I think there's
that's Cody.
Thing. Now there's a couple things here because we don't know what's going on yet. Like we don't know. We know a heel turn's coming. We just don't know how or when.
It's slow burn to say the least. But yes,
we don't know how or when. Does he? How does he go about this? Does he take the TNT title to WWE if the Forbidden Door is really going to be open to them? Does he go back to New Japan and join up with Bullet Club?
Okay.
It's a fucking stretch. It's a stretch, but it's now possible if Cody isn't just contracted to wrestle for AEW.
Well, the WWE did say they want to bring in Forbidden Door to both the women and the men's Royal Rumble, but there's already been talks that nobody in AEW is going to be involved in either Royal Rumble. But that being said, the Bullet Club thing, I would not count out because, again, American Nightmare was literally made in the Bullet Club.
Bullet Club, yeah.
Also, there's a third option. There's a third option.
Go ahead.
Does Cody have a friend that's challenging for the NWA title soon?
Oh.
Matt Cardona!
Ooh.
That's right. Matt Cardona's challenging for the 10 pounds of gold pretty soon against Trevor Murdoch. That might actually be things. Because he and Mike Knox have literally been tag teaming in the NWA.
Exactly.
I don't get the Mike Knox pairing, but
I'm just going to go along with it.
But that's a good third option.
And Cody is a former holder of the 10 pounds of gold. He won it back in NWA 70, which ultimately led to the introduction of an insurance policy. Now the NWA Women's World Champion, Camille, and I don't see anybody ever taking that title off her.
That girl's a beast. I hate to see that. That girl's a beast. Jesus Christ.
She could be a champion of all promotions as far as I'm concerned. Good grief almighty.
Dude, Camille's Camille
confidence, growth, presentation, adaptation. She is the full package.
Her and Kayla Rossi. Kayla is as good as I think she is.
Kayla Rossi, I think, is still one of those yet to be fully unleashed. I'm just saying.
Yeah, true. She's like the female Wardlow from the looks of
things. Yeah, I
was
about to say Wardlow is getting ready to be unleashed here pretty soon in this MJF and Punk story.
Ooh.
So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about that. Let's talk about AEW and this new era.
Before we talk about that,
go ahead.
Since we're talking about Cody's contract, we got to talk about the other contract. Who wants out?
Cage?
Mustafa Ali.
Yeah, that's a big one. Yeah. Before we talk about a new era, let's talk about maybe a new signing somewhere outside WWE. We've already seen Toni Storm. She is going to show up somewhere. I wouldn't mind seeing her Impact Wrestling, but the bigger one here, with all due respect, is definitely Mustafa Ali. Huge favoritism with peers in the back. He tried to do multiple things with what he was given. He even tried this American thing, it looked like, as a plot point, but that character got dropped. And then, of course, he was denied that Money in the Bank, tried the Retribution thing, that got dropped, and now he's literally, like, at this point, it's like, I'm doing nothing. I feel I should do more.
There's been an update on Mustafa Ali about why he was gone. So he had a kid, and everyone was on the assumption, oh, he's on paternity leave.
Which would make sense.
Now, it turns out he only asked for one show off for that.
And look how many shows he's been off.
And you want to know why he was off for the rest of the time?
Why?
Because they had nothing for him.
Wait, what?
And he said they had nothing for him.
Oh, here's the thing. When the New America gimmick was pitched, they were for it, but then Vince McMahon came in and pitched something to Mustafa Ali that was described as something he would never have done, and it led to a heated argument between him and Vince to the point that Mustafa Ali was like, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore.
I got it.
Agreement.
It was something. I got it. It was something racist.
Probably.
Most likely.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if it related to Saudi Arabia and what they did because
he did post in that video saying that he can't deliver his message while working for the WWE. Therefore, he requests his release. So I'm guessing that message has to relate to that.
Or they wanted to do a reboot of Muhammad Hassan.
I was about to say, they probably tried to reboot Muhammad Hassan. I was like, oh, Lord.
But yeah, Vince and him got into a heated argument, and Vince didn't want to bring him back for a while. So, yeah, basically the idea
You disagree with me?
Oh, there's even something more BS about this. Guess what Mustafa Ali came out with in October?
What?
He revealed on a Metro interview where and I kid you not, Vince apparently, he said this was Ali saying it, not some third-party source. Mustafa Ali was told by Vince, kid, you're too polished, you're too clean, and you're just too nice. I don't think you have it in you.
Oh, give me a break. This is the same guy.
Why'd you have him lead a fucking renegade group then, you dumb fuck?
And James is triggered. No glasses needed.
No, how does that make any sense? Does he just try to find a fucking excuse?
James, how many times must you and I go through this? Logic does not exist in the WWE. Simple as that.
I think you're a fucking liar. That's what I think.
And I gotta say this, I was like, okay, Mustafa Ali has to lead in Retribution. He could make it work if he had a better writing team, but Mustafa Ali, if you did it now, I can't see it working. He's just an awesome guy. You can't boo him.
Yep, this is the same guy who has took too many chair shots, too many bumps throughout his time as a wrestler back in the day, all those times. So
and I like to remember, and I like to remind you all, the last thing he did when he got a big paycheck from the Blood Money events, he said, "I'm donating all that to charity. I do not want the cash."
There you go. Might I add, he is also a policeman at heart, just saying. Might I also add, he was a standout in the original 205 Live, which Triple H was trying to bring back the glory of Cruiserweight Wrestling. I went back and rewatched that no DQ match with him and Buddy Murphy. Still one of my favorite matches ever in that series history.
Still to this day, I still will watch Cedric Alexander and Mustafa Ali open up
the heart and soul.
Buddy Murphy versus Mustafa Ali, no DQ.
That's still my favorite match probably of all time.
But yeah, I was like, okay, wait, so him being polished in the ring is too much? He was too clean? He was too nice? So at least we now know where Undertaker got his I liked it back in the day when people were distrustworthy and knives. At least that explains it.
And then he probably would powerbomb him through the stage, almost killing him off like he did Muhammad Hassan when he was American Badass.
Yep, 2005, the Great American Badass.
Yeah, and I think James has become broke. I think James is broken from the fact that
he was a hybrid dead man around the time.
That's true.
Here's why I broke, because it's so bullshit. It's just bullshit. It's not that he didn't trust him. He just didn't like him, period. Like, you put the fucking guy that you said didn't have it in you, which may be true. Yeah, sure. First off, you didn't even give him a chance because you sat in them with a shit renegade group. So if you really didn't think he didn't have anything to do and he didn't have the gusto to pull it off, why'd you put him in a fucking renegade group then?
Probably because he wanted people to go ahead and be, well, he's religious, so we can use that excuse.
Don't use that excuse in the book. That's how they market themselves. That's how that all works.
Okay, guys, if you thought that was annoying and frustrating, and James is going to be definitely pissed off about what I'm about to say next, and all of you will too.
I don't have bottles, so I will not be.
The WWE fan base is now suddenly turning on Mustafa Ali.
Yeah, it makes sense. No, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you exactly why.
It can sometimes be even more frustrating than the professional wrestling industry. I tell you, things got real, and they're going to get even more real very soon. Apologies for the audio, folks. Again, I'll put a thing in the disclaimer. Beware, headphone users. Apparently, my mic was not set up properly, and no one told me anything. Apparently, it was fine on their ends. But again, sorry, it won't happen again once this first ATW VIEW series concludes. That being said, hope you enjoyed part 1. Stay tuned for part 2 within the next day or so. And again, I thank you all, and now will bid you a fine adieu. Enjoy your day or night, whatever time it might be. Just live life happily with all your might. Simple as that.